Sullivan County was called to order by Dwight Nelson. Prayer was given by Larry Bedwell. Roll call was answered by Kermit King, Larry Bedwell, and Dwight Nelson. Minutes from the December 3rd, 2013, December 2012 meeting were read. As there were no objections or corrections, the motion was made by King and seconded by Bedwell that the minutes stand. A listing of adjustments made to water bills for the month of December was presented to the council. As there were no disagreements, the motion was made by King and seconded by Bedwell to sign the adjustment docket. All board members signed. Danielle Monroe from Springer Insurance was here to present the 2013 renewal for the workers' comp in the town's commercial insurance package. The price for the commercial insurance package with U.S. Specialty Insurance Company is $12,297. This is a 4% increase from last year. The workman's comp policy with the state will be with the state pool this year at an annual rate of $5,075. Stacy with Floyd Hunter was here and gave her report. Blower number 3 has a low voltage default signal showing up. Stacy asked if Larry Bedwell, who is a town council member and an electrician, could come down and take a look at it. Stacy informed us that a sludge dumpster would be provided from Republic Services for $310. This would hold up to 3 tons. Dwight made a motion to allow the Floyd Hunter to order the dumpster for $310. Kermit seconded the motion. Clerk presented ordinance number 1-7-2013, an ordinance defining the presiding officer. Clerk presented ordinance number 1-7-2013-C, an ordinance partially amending ordinance number 9-2010, personnel policy regarding vacation time benefits. There's a lot more to all these. I'm just not reading them. You can read them if you'd like. Clerk presented ordinance number 1-7-2013-B. This is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 8-1-2012-C in regards to the withdrawal of the town of Duggar and its employees from the PERF program. Nielsen discussed his recommendation to let go volunteer fireman Joe King. Apparently threats and intimidation were made toward the town council member during a disagreement. Also, bad remarks about all council members were made on Facebook. The council discussed punishment. King made a public apology for his actions to the council and to the public. The council decided to let King go, but he resigned from his position. Nielsen made a motion to pay the claims, and King seconded. The claim docket was signed by all the board members. Nielsen made a motion to adjourn, and Bedwell seconded. The motion was passed, and the meeting was adjourned. All those ordinances are explained into detail, but I don't feel like reading them, and you guys can read them.
I almost felt like asking if you want me to read that.
If Carolyn was here, I was going to let her read them, but it just is a recap of the other day of the last meeting. So that's it.
Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as read.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Okay.
And then I have copies of the leak adjustments from January, and those are all here for you guys to review and sign.
Which one's that?
Leak adjustment.
Oh, yeah. Not that one. Oh, that's for the minutes.
This is the minute, yeah. While we're doing this, Stacy, you wanna go ahead and get or something you wanna read?
Sure. Wastewater plant drinking water monthly report for the month of December. Me and Larry were just sitting there talking about blower number 3. Fuse keeps going out. The other two replaced the fuses because they all tripped out at some point. But I think it has to do with that airline we were talking about. But blower number 3's got more serious problems. So we're going to work together to find an electrician for out there. You know, one that knows how to work on the VFDs. No offense. And then we've been rotating the blowers weekly. We ordered shear pins for the clarifiers because they froze up and it breaks those shear pins. Grab master meter reading at the pump house every day. And then there are air leaks in the air line from the blower room to the tanks. And we just need to replace that section. And my guys know how to replace air lines. City just have to provide the backhoe. And we need to know what kind of materials down there. On the 8th, which was the day after the last meeting, IDEM inspector was on site for inspection of the facility. Like I told you in the meeting, our clarifier was frozen. There were solids where there weren't supposed to be solids, and of course he was here the day after the meeting to find that out. But so we'll be getting a letter and a copy of the inspection soon. At the plant, we need an 8-foot ladder, and then this spring, I was just giving you a heads up that we probably will need a pressure washer to be kept at the plant, just so we can keep our clarifiers clean.
You want a gas powered one probably too, don't you?
Yeah, 2600 PSI or better. So also, we didn't have any exemptions in our monthly report for December, well below. So plant's still running smooth, even though it didn't look very good.
Did they get a dumpster out there?
Nope, we haven't got that out there yet. I'll make sure we do that. There's no, IDEM doesn't have any limitations on how much sludge can be kept on site. And that building and that slab were poured specifically to keep the bags on. And obviously, the more you let them dry out before you put them in the dumpster,
Right.
the less weight we'll have to haul off. So
Okay.
we'll get them in there. Definitely get them in there.
That room where you store the bags, is it heated?
Yeah, it's got those heat lamps up there too.
Okay, so they're not froze,
Yeah, they'll dry.
What's the PSI on that?
He was requesting a 2600 PSI or better.
2600 or better?
I don't know what the average PSI on a pressure
Not much,
washer
not that.
is.
No, that's pretty high pressure.
Yeah?
Anything above 2,500 is really high pressure.
Okay. I can double check that. Of course, got a few months before spring hits. So.
Yeah. What are you washing that takes that kind of pressure?
We pressure wash with clarifiers because when the algae starts growing on it, you can't get it with a scrub brush. So
Yeah.
it does take a pressure washer.
Mm-hmm.
We've got one in the meantime we could use, but we prefer the plants have their
When
own.
do you need this?
By spring.
By spring?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Are there any other questions for the wastewater plant?
I've got one question. In that blower room out there,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of junk in there.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Is any of that,
Well, since we've been running that plant since 2005, and we have never used any of that stuff in there. I think there's some oil, some old oil for the blowers in there. There's thick books and all sorts of equipment stacked in there. We haven't used it, but you know, it's not my place to throw it out without going through the town. So, if you guys want to come out there and have a spring cleaning, I'll be more than happy to point out stuff we don't use.
Okay.
think it needs?
Yeah. Well, you know. It's not good to have just stuff laying around. I'm kind of a neat person in my plants, and the less hazards I have around, the better.
Okay. Anybody else here have any questions they want to ask Stacy? About the sewer plant? I guess not. I guess not.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, is Jay Southwood here? Okay. Well, Jay Southwood was gonna be here tonight. What he was gonna talk about, he's wanting to give us I don't know if he's gonna give us a price or just talk to us, but Shelburne would like to take over Duggar's Water.
Not take over Duggar's Water, but giving us, delivering water to us.
Delivering water to us, not take it over. Delivering water to us instead of buying it from Linton. He was wanting to give us I don't know if he's gonna give us a quote or what was he gonna do tonight.
I don't have any
Tell
idea.
him we was having a meeting here.
And he never told me. I didn't know about this till about 2 days ago.
This is the first I've ever heard of it, so.
Okay, well, never mind.
We've been anticipating some information from them here because they're wanting to run, I understand they're gonna run a water line up to X-Line Corner, up there, from Shelburne. Or maybe it's coming up along that Cass Road, I'm not sure which way it's coming, but I know it's coming this way. And I talked to a man that's supposed to run the backhoe to lay the pipeline in for him. Cause he asked me about it, and I said, well, they've not contacted us yet. But we're definitely interested, we'll see what they have to offer. So I was hoping he would be here tonight. But if he isn't, well, I'm sure they'll get a hold of us as they start putting that water line down. It'll be this spring before they start laying the water line. So we'll see what they got from there. So we're not sure what that's gonna amount to yet, but we'll find out as we get the information. It may be a good deal, it might not, we'll see.
Where does Shelburne water come from? I don't know.
They have their own aquifer there, a huge one.
Yeah.
And they have a humongous water supply.
Pull it out of Wabash?
No.
No, this is one that's in the ground. From what we're understanding, they have more water than they could ever use. And they're trying to run lines and sell it, different communities. And we'll see what they have, what the proposal is. There's a little bit more than just running a water line here. We're talking about pumps over there, how they're gonna get to where they're gonna be. Are they gonna have to build a new pump station and eliminate, there's just a lot to that, more than just running a water line looking on here. So we'll have to see what their whole total package is, you know? There's just running the water line, that's, and we gotta put a new pump house in and all that sort of thing. You know, I don't know what the proposal's gonna be yet. So we'll wait till we hear. So.
I think Douglas bought their water from Lanton for years. So, I
Yeah,
mean, we can get it cheaper from Shelburne,
Keeps it in the county,
pardon?
and it keeps it in the county.
Yeah,
yes. But we'll see what they have to offer. When they get it, when they start heading this way, then we should have some sort of meeting with them, if they're interested in us.
Just for the month of January.
So,
and then I had one other thing I wanted to update everybody on. The red truck that Gene used to buy, we are going to put it up for bid. That'll be the next meeting. Be a sealed bid. We're gonna get it appraised. It's not perfect, it needs tires and the transmission's got a little issue. I don't think it's serious. Gene can tell you more about the truck than me, but we're gonna get it appraised and it'll probably be a minimum bid that we would take.
yeah.
And then anything over that, it would be the highest bidder would get it. So that will be at the next meeting, we will have something for you on that. And then the only other thing, I think that I don't have anything else other than had that meeting with the fire department and you've got the.
We did have a meeting with our fire department here. You wanna come up here with us instead of being at the back? Come on up here. And what the meeting's about is to establish a fire protection territory. Our fire chief has come up with a plan, and, which includes, what, Pleasantville and,
Jefferson Township, Cass Township, and the town of Duggar.
right, combining into one, and what they call it is a territory. And there's certain guidelines to do that. And we kind of went over it with them here at the meeting here a while back. And there's certain things you gotta have. We have to have ordinances, put in there that all three units agree on. I myself think it's probably a really good plan. Now, it's been adopted by other communities. Some, see, where's this one? This one's from Plainfield. Where's the other one that we?
There's one in the county, it's up at Thunderbird, it'd be Farmersburg.
Farmersburg has went to this plan, where instead of having one truck down at Pleasantville, and that's what they got, and we got several here and others, they'll all combine into one. And feed that whole area, but they'll call it, what the territory will be or what the fire thing would be, they'd have to come up with a name for it yet. And we talked about that a little bit. That would probably be the biggest thing to have, deciding what the name's gonna be. But we're for it. I believe we were for it when we listened to them. It would provide much better protection, and he can kind of go over a little bit with that with us on that, what we've been looking at. How the funding's gonna go, about notices and hearings that we have to do, and the dates and times we have to have it in by for this year. It's would have to move fairly fast for us to get it done this year. It has to be done by what, July?
Actually, it has to be done by
The end of March?
end of March.
The end of March, yeah.
What we have to do is the town and the townships will have to come up with an ordinance of the same ordinance and pass it. We'll have to have 3 public meetings.
Yes.
They have to be 10 days apart because they have to be published. And at the end of those 3 meetings, they can pass their ordinance, and then in July, we can take over into a fire protection territory.
And what that amounts to is, after the, first of the year,
Yeah, after,
they would be setting their own budgets.
yeah, basically after the first
Paying
year,
their
we'd
own
be
bills.
our own entity.
They'd be their own entity. They will apply for any grants. It will be overseen by how many? 2 from
We'll answer to a 6-person fire board.
6 fire board.
The town will appoint 2, each township will appoint 2.
Yes, and they will be the overseers.
Yeah, that'll be our new governing body.
The governing body of it. So, I really don't think, from what I'm looking at it, as far as taxes and those type of things, to establish that, it's no different than what we have already. Instead of us getting ours and then just paying them to do whatever they're doing, each community will put it all that into one group for this year, and then in the next year they will file for their own. To me, it sounds like a really good plan. It will probably bring the fire force up to around 25 people,
Yeah.
probably. Instead of having 10 or 15 here, 2 or 3 down there, and 3 or 4 up there, or whatever it is, it'll be 25 operating out of one place, which is probably a lot quicker response and a lot better equipment. Instead of using 15 or 18-year-old equipment, they'll probably be able to combine them, sell some, and update their fire equipment a lot. One of the other things we're looking at, the reason for doing this, one of the reasons is because it's much better fire department stuff. But in the event, what were we talking about, trustees?
They're trying to get rid of township trustees.
Yes.
And in the event that they do that, all of our stuff that the trustee owns, which is probably 2/3 of our fire department, will go to the county.
Yes, and we will lose it.
We'll be a county-run fire department, and they can take our equipment and move it anywhere they want in the county.
Now, if we go to this territory, that won't happen.
Yeah, if we go to a territory, we'll get to keep what we got, basically.
Yes, yes.
Thomas, do we keep our firehouse here and our own trucks here? Or is it gonna be built a big building like North Central?
No, it'll stay
Honda
where,
No, it'll stay
it'll
here.
stay where it's at.
It'll stay
Okay.
where it's at. Now, I understand the building will still belong to Duggar. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the way I take it is, once you do this, you sign everything over to the territory, but if the territory ever dissolves, whatever you put into it, you get back.
We will
Like
receive
our fire
back.
truck and our firehouse.
Well, you get the firehouse back for sure.
Yeah.
But if we would buy a new fire truck
Well, you know.
and get rid of the one that you
Yeah.
had, then you guys would have to purchase a new one or buy one back from the territory or something.
Yeah, he has showed me a copy of an ordinance here that Plainfield Fire Protection Territory has enacted. And we were looking for a couple of these, and so we could adopt something that's close to what we want here. I mean, we just changed the names basically, and a few other things that go into this. Who's participating, how the tax will be done, and if any of the 3 drops out, what happens will be in it. I've not showed it to these guys. We just got this one here, and I'll probably look for another one, just make sure that one we were talking about, and see if they're all, how close they all are. The one thing that is my understanding, that whatever we had for 2013 for the fire department, or would it be for next year? That we actually write them a check that what we had,
The way I think it's whatever you guys had budgeted for us for, would be the last part of this year, would be
Okay.
2013.
What we have
Just write us a
budgeted-
check.
once they establish it, we would write a check for that amount. What's left there, we would write them that check, and that would go into their treasury, and each area would do the same thing. And that's what they'd start out with. And then the next year, they would budget their own, and get their own tax levies and things like that. To me, it would be much better in the long run. I really believe it would be.
Thomas, you say it's gonna be done by this March?
If we want to get it done this year,
Yeah, the ordinance and the meetings have to be done.
by the end of
That doesn't
March,
give you much time, so you gotta do 3,
they're 10 days
They
apart.
gotta be 10 days
so you
apart.
need to do it like ASAP, like
Yeah.
this week.
Yes, well, what we was talking about is we need to have a meeting, us here, fire department, sit down and draft up an ordinance. And once we get the ordinance, then we gotta put it in the paper. And sit down and have a meeting and read what our ordinance is gonna say. Now, if the town doesn't want it, this town doesn't want it, then we won't go along with it, you know, I think it's a great policy, I really
You
do.
just have a meeting and the people show up. and
Yeah.
give
We
have
their
3
opinion
public
and
meetings.
We have
vote on
3
it.
public meetings on
And
it.
then you got it, okay.
And we will go over each step of it all through the way.
Yeah, that's.
As we learn more about it, then, you know, it's gonna be better. We have a pretty good idea here on this ordinance right here. There's a thing I've got here by the state of Indiana, how it's set up, how you do it. This is an ordinance here, resolution to establish it. It tells you exactly what you gotta have in it. We looked at this the other day. There's also, and what everything's got, and how you gotta put the notices out, by the second hearings and all that stuff. It's all written down here. We can follow this, by this law here. This was enacted on March 14th, 2012. They signed it into law. And since then, there's at least 2 others that have already went to it.
Yeah.
And probably more that we don't know about.
Mitch Daniels redone it in 2012. He was trying to make it a little easier to form them because of getting rid of the trust, or trying to get rid of the
Trustees.
Basically, the way I understand it, if they do away the trustees and the county takes it over, Sullivan wants to take some of the Cass Township and put it in Barham, and
That's where it'll go.
And the only thing that the town of Duggar has right now, as far as the town of Duggar goes, is the building and 1 fire truck.
That's it.
The rescue truck, the brush truck, the tanker, and the other fire truck all belong to Cass Township.
All right.
So 4 out of our 5 trucks belong to the township.
So, in the event that happens, well, we'd be down to 1 truck and that's it. So this is a plan for the future. And I think it's a good plan. Protects everybody in this area. It won't cost you any more, from what I can see. It'll benefit everybody.
Eventually, once we get our, they set up a equipment replacement fund with this new territory, and eventually, I'd say within 4 to 5 years, once we can replace 2 pieces of equipment, we can apply for a new ISO rating. And the lower your rating is, the better your homeowner's insurance will be.
Yes,
As our number goes down, your home insurance, or homeowner's insurance gets cheaper.
yes.
If you said, that was a good question. If it doesn't raise taxes, and if they add on a tax rate, would that mean you guys would reduce yours and the townships would reduce
Well,
theirs? to
we
reflect
won't budget those taxes for
Right.
that department
Right.
at all.
So yours would be reduced in a sense.
For the fire department.
In a
part of it.
sense,
Yeah,
to
we won't have-
counteract the-
We won't have that for the town.
The town will be ahead that much money.
Well, yeah, we won't have to budget $10,000 for
That'll
it.
be money that you
You
usually
know,
budget.
they'll be budgeting their own.
Good deal.
So it works for us. It takes a little while for them to get established in that. Yes, we will have to write them a check. That's only fair. You know, get them started right until they can get into their own. One of the questions we had is that we communicated to them when they're having a meeting is who will we get the 2 people to put into the overseer group from Duggar. And we told them that it's got to be somebody that knows something about firefighting, have a lot of experience. So when they go in there and ask him, well, we need this and this, they have some idea what you're talking about. And so we're going to be looking for those people, probably retired, anybody that's retired, been on it a long time in this area. We had a couple of names that had thrown around. We're not into the thing to asking them right now until, first of all, we got to see that this community wants this thing. You know, and I believe Pleasantville does, from what we're hearing. So there's at least two of you to go right off the bat, that we can get this going. But before we go asking those people, there'll be overseers and all that, we got to make sure that this goes through. So that's what we're looking at.
I got one question.
Yeah.
Pleasantville goes in with this, Tom. Will they have a truck down there at Pleasantville?
Yeah, well, they actually have an engine and a brush truck down there in their station, and if they go in with it, they'll turn their station and their 2 trucks over to us, and we'll keep an engine down there.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Well, I
somewhere-
basically have 2 stations we can work out of.
All right.
Okay.
That's the same thing they done at Farmersburg. The Curry Township has a station in Shelburne, and then they use the main station in Farmersburg. So Thunderbird's got 2 stations.
Okay.
So,
Fairbanks don't have anything over there?
Fairbanks has got a volunteer fire department, but they're not part of the
They're
territory.
not part of the Thunderbird Fire Protection? Okay.
No, it was just Curry Township and the town of Farmersburg that
No.
formed that one.
Okay.
now, if you're thinking about a territory, start writing a little name down what you want to call this. I told them there's going to be a hell of an argument over this. If Duggar's got the biggest station, you know, and Pleasantville's got the people in it, and other people, what are you going to call it? What are we going to call this to put it in an ordinance? What are we going to call this territory? So, you know, there was a lot of names thrown up about it, but we hadn't settled on one yet because we thought there might be a lot of devious things going on about that.
Call the fire station.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, it's not actually all Duggars, it's not all Pleasantville, it's not all the other ones, so they're gonna have to come up with a name, and I would think that, as far as I'm concerned, that we'd leave it to the fire departments to come up with a suitable name. Get that out of our hands. So, we're in the beginning stages, but we have to move forward fairly fast on this. We got 2 months to get this done, so they can have it for the year. If we don't get it done, they have to wait a year, until next year. So we have to get on this.
We might get
So-
rid of the trustee before next year.
We need to set up a meeting, again, with all the entities, go over this ordinance, this copy here, if we get another copy so we can glance at 2 of them, get an ordinance written up that's good for all 3 areas, get it all nice and written down, typed up, and put that in the paper and have a meeting on it. It'll just be, we're not gonna wait till the first of next month. We're gonna have at least 1 this month, if not 2. 1 here in about 14 days, and 1 another at the end of the month, if we can get it done that quick. So I talked to him the other night, maybe we could have 1 ready by the first of next week. Get a quick meeting in on it, try to get it done. This is a pretty good ordinance from what I can see right here from Plainfield. And we're gonna make up about, 6 copies of that. And so everybody can read it, and then we can all pencil out what we don't like in it. If we get another one, we'll compose the 2 and see how close they are together. It's a very simple ordinance, but it's the way it's gotta be done. Everything's listed here, that's listed over here in this, how you do it by the law. It's pretty plain right in this ordinance. So hopefully we can get this all done. So I wanted you to know what we're planning. I think it's benefit to everybody here. Good job on their part. Pleasantville's, they were up at the meeting when we had at the firehouse with them. He had asked for this meeting the last day of the meeting. We all had a really good meeting in there, find out what they were thinking about, and we agreed with them. It'd be excellent for this area. It'll also protect us in the future. If anything happens with trustees, it will protect us. We won't have to call somebody over 15 miles away to come here. And if nothing happens there, we're still fine. We're still fine if nothing happens. If the trustee is still there, it still doesn't matter. It's still the territory would be set. So nothing would happen here. We would keep it and even expand it, make it better. Yes?
And our fire chief would be from this town, not somebody way out in
Hold on.
75 miles from here,
Hold on
ways
there.
out in the country.
We discussed that also at the meeting. Who would be the fire chief?
But it would be from Duggar.
Nah,
That'd
hold
be
on.
from the territory.
It would be from the territory.
Could be
Now, the
anybody.
territory could be anybody for from Pleasantville to here, to how far does the territory go to the north?
I mean, it can be anybody, right now, the fire department we got, it can be anybody out of the township, the way it is.
Yeah, it can be.
If you're on the fire department.
If you're on the fire department, it can
Yes.
be anybody out of the township. That would be up to
Yeah.
the new board that they pick, who that would be.
Yeah.
If he lives out in the country with one house around him, he's gonna worry about his and nobody else's.
Well,
But he's gonna be
You're
on
gonna
the
have
fire
the fire
department,
department.
Mom.
oh,
I mean,
Okay, I'm just
It all don't
saying.
hinge
The reason
around
I
one
say this, when my children were in school, they sold us North Central. And now everything that goes to North Central, and you people know that,
oh, yes.
you start out with a good plan and somebody takes over and takes it where they want it. And we should not let that happen.
Well, it has to be within this territory.
It has to be from this area, Mom.
Yeah, so we
They are
think,
too, but
realistically, I would think the fire chief to start this out would be from right here. This is the biggest group,
it's right.
my opinion. Can't say that for sure, because we don't vote.
Your firemen pick your fire chief.
Yes. Now, the territory, do they pick the fire chief?
that's, when we go to the territory, that's something we have to establish.
Yes, we have to establish that,
When we establish the territory, we'll have to establish how they pick.
how they do that. We haven't got to that stage yet.
Basically, we'll be starting over.
Right, right. That's one of the things we're gonna be talking about when we sit down and have a meeting with. We discussed it a little bit at the first meeting. Well, who's gonna be the fire chief? Who's gonna be the assistants? Well, we don't know yet, and that's a fact. I was sure, my opinion, that these three groups would have that pretty much in mind when we have these meetings. Who it's gonna be, I would think so. Realistically, they got 14 people here and they got 4 down there, they got 4 down there, these 14 guys outvoted them.
But when they go territory, and that's a good thing.
Those people will come in and have a vote too.
Say, well, we don't like that person.
No.
He's
No.
not gonna be fire chief.
Yes.
That's gonna be the territory. It's gonna be
Yeah.
away from town.
It can
Right?
be. It
What we'll
can
do with the town and the townships, we'll sign this agreement like this. We got here a sample agreement.
Yeah.
And then they won't have any say over
No,
the territory at all. The only people we'll have to answer to is the 6-person board.
And that's
Right.
it. Right.
And
That's
they'll appoint 2 people that they want on that board.
yes.
And that's the only people you answer to. You won't answer to the town board, and you won't answer to the
So your
trustees.
firemen more than likely will still elect their fire chief. You
Right.
just don't have to go through the board.
Yeah, don't have to have any.
That's right. You're right. That's the way, it'll work.
You'll have to get approved through the new territory board or
Yeah.
whatever.
If the firemen elect this guy, then the board will approve who it is. And there's 6 of
If
them.
you're territorial. then-
Territory, well, yeah, it'd be
You
territory.
won't have nothing in it.
Good.
He meant the territory board, he didn't mean the town
No.
board, don't
Yeah.
have anything to do with it. If they
No.
get this
The
through, the
town
town
won't
board
be.
don't have anything to do with
Yeah.
who the chief is or who they are, it'll be all them. They'll
Be on their own.
run their own department.
Yes. I think it'd be a great deal. I really do. Hopefully, we can get one more copy of another ordinance, get a meeting together and establish one of these ordinances. We've got a lot of things, names to change out. We can all sit down and do that. It may take us, 2 or 3 hours of talking and get it done. And then have our secretary get it in the paper and have a meeting on it. I'd like to have one at least by, in about 2 weeks from now, have a meeting. And while we set that meeting, then put another one in the paper that day for 10 days later, have another one. That's the way this is set up. So we can get it done.
It's open to the public too,
And
right?
open to the public, yes. Oh, yes,
They have it right here.
sure. So,
Okay, we need to set up a special meeting to talk about some of this stuff.
what's that?
People wanting their wages back. Should we have a meeting with Michelle, me and you have a meeting with Michelle?
Yeah, we can have one of them. It don't hurt us any. We can have one. We'll have a little meeting on,
One thing I wanted to.
salary ordinances and all
One
those
thing I
sort
wanted
of
to
things.
bring up, I've had some people here that work for the town that brought up some issues on salary and, it's not a secret that towns don't have any money.
I
But,
don't know why.
well, that was then, this is now.
don't we?
But anyway.
We're working on it.
We're working on it best we can, but Michelle, I think we need to set up an executive meeting where you and Larry and myself and Dwight can sit down and go over and look at the finances and see if there's anything we can do. Well, it's no secret, I'll just tell everybody, Kathy would like to have her job back as cleaner. And I think we need somebody to clean this building, the community building. But I wanna make sure we got enough money to pay her. And David would like to at least get part of his wages back that was cut from him. And I don't blame him.
And Mike, they talk about the general fund. If I was coming to the town hall today to rent the community building, I would pay you for the community room. I wouldn't rent the kitchen and I wouldn't rent the gym because at all times you can go in any part of that building you want.
Yeah, that's something.
Anytime.
That's
If
something
I
we-
wanted the whole building, I'd come in and say, I want to rent the community room today. And I'd use the whole building because it's not locked.
Yeah.
And I hollered that ever since I started cleaning. I'm not slamming nobody, but it needs to be locked.
I can assure you, we've been informed about
And
that.
Linton is both has keys. My grandsons practice ball over here, and I know that they're not being paid for every time you're in there.
We have discussed a little bit about that, and we were talking about changing some locks. Well, you know, this lock deal, but it's gonna have to be done. We realize what you're saying, by the way.
But you'd be a fool to pay $125 when you can get the whole building
Yeah,
for $50.
you're right.
Rent the front part for 45 or 50 and say, well, nobody's here, we're gonna go play basketball.
And that's exactly what they
How
do.
how much do they pay when they play basketball there all day on Sunday?
That's that Grasshopper League, they pay a flat rate, and the town's not making any money on it, I'll guarantee you that.
No,
They
we're not.
give us $200
We raised the rate
year.
this year, didn't we?
We raised it $200 more than they did last year, and
The
we're still not making any
Grasshopper
money.
group doesn't charge people to go in.
Right,
The other groups that are using it is $1 a head.
really?
And if they use it for $1 a head, they have 600 to 700 people go through the ballgame. I have 2 grandsons playing.
And they have their
And their
concessions.
concessions.
They use their kids.
But it's not run by adults. Kids are doing it and they bounce basketballs off the cabinets, they bounce basketballs off the walls, they walk on top of the toilet stalls. Go in and check it out sometime.
Figure out what you're gonna charge them for that.
Well, we just discussed that a little
Yeah,
bit.
what would we just have, executive meeting, from you?
We'll clean it up, we always do. Cause Kathy's there to help us.
Thinking.
She does it pretty that time, don't you?
It's just a shame that you don't know how many times that community building is used at all times of the day and night.
Lights are on
Today.
and private little club or something.
Get it too.
Huh? I know they are.
Huh?
Executive meeting.
Sure.
Remember you
We're having the daytime. We're having the daytime.
She'll just do it in the daytime.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a night.
That's okay.
Do something after.
What about, Monday the 18th, it's President's Day, but we're open,
The 18th.
Monday the 18th, President's Day.
Yeah. How long is that?
that is, well, that's 2 weeks from today.
Let's see, if we get a meeting with them for next week, we need to set up somewhere.
Well, that's an executive meeting.
Oh, that executive?
Yeah, just me and you and Larry and her. to talk
Oh, yeah,
about-
anytime. I don't care if you do it during the second week. That's good.
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
How about, 10 or 11?
After that,
Whatever time you want, whatever, make it easy.
10 or 11? 10 or 11 o'clock?
Tell you what I think I want.
That's fine.
11,
11 o'clock,
11 o'clock the 18th.
11 o'clock to 18th.
18th.
Is that gonna be good notice for you, or do you need written notice?
I still haven't got the town one yet.
What kind of, oh, what do you mean?
Just the one for the monthly ones. Because last year you guys switched them around. Some. Remember that?
Some?
Yeah, well, right. It's just helpful for me.
First Monday of every month.
I know.
So do you want this in writing then too?
That would be helpful, yes.
Okay.
The executive meeting,
I have enough trouble getting my name spelled right.
Executive meeting on the 18th then at 11 o'clock.
All right.
town hall,
Yeah.
to discuss,
And it'll just be us.
salaries and
Salaries and,
employees.
Cell phones.
Yeah.
So are they gonna can walkers go in the community building now?
Pardon?
Walkers of a day, during the day? And there don't have to be heat on, there don't have to be no lights on, it's lit in there.
Like we was talking about keys, there's people got keys that does it anyway.
You're right.
They're big. I mean, there's
You're exactly
three or four
right.
boys every night over there playing basketball. With 11,
lights and-
12, 1 o'clock at night, every freaking night, their personal little gym.
Well, that's something,
I mean, this is how many, this has been a year and second month now we've said that, and they're still doing it.
what needs to be done on those locks, when you just go change a lock, they got two kinds of locks. They got one's got 5 tumblers, and they got another one's got 6 tumblers. The 6 tumbler lock, you cannot go to the hardware store and buy a blank for a 6 tumbler lock, but a 6 tumbler lock is pretty expensive. So if you change them, you got 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 1, 2, at least 4 doors that'll have to be changed in there. I think they're around $100 a piece, I believe.
Well, think of all the.
can we have that man come and rekey the locks like what we had done?
Well, if they rekeys the ones that's there, they're just 5 tumbler locks, and somebody gets a key and says, we've changed the lock, here's your key, and somebody says, hey, can I have a copy of that? Sure, go up to Hardware and get you one made. That's why there's so many keys out there.
People don't give them out.
I was gonna say, if only just a few people have them, then, you know, I bet I mean, I know we have to hand them out.
Only ones I can think that would really need a key to would be David, Gene, Lonnie, and any of us 3, because I don't know how many times I get called to come over and unlock it. And then that woman that does the Toys for Tots. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Carolyn,
Your water woman, she'll unlock.
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Carolyn, because she has to give the key out to the person who rents it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, whenever you give it out to the person that rents it, that's when you get in trouble, I think.
Yeah, if they do, if we change them locks, we can talk about that.
Well,
If we change those locks, but that's not cheap to change them, so.
Can't you stamp those keys in some way, and then if you find out that some of Joe's keys are stamped over at the school, and if they
Have somebody show
try
up and
to
check
make
it.
copies of them, they're in big trouble. I mean,
Well, schools has the 6 tumbler locks like he's talking about, and
Right.
that is the same way.
looks to me like you can mark those keys, and somebody had a key that wasn't marked.
You about have to go to get a key made for a 6 tumbler lock, you about have to go to a locksmith, because
yep.
Ace Hardware and Hardware here in town, they're not gonna have that key
Let's have a
made.
fundraiser to raise money to change the locks on the building.
I don't think I'd have somebody to do that. Sure, when I first did that.
We're pretty much heard that, man. Yeah, we're pretty much heard.
Okay. Any old
You
business?
guys talking about Duggar being broke, what about the senior citizen building up in town? What are you gonna do about that? You gonna sell it, or gonna leave it set there and pay taxes on it, or what?
They don't
I'm
pay taxes.
interested, well, they can draw taxes on it if they sell it. I'm interested in buying it,
That's
make
the
the
guy.
senior citizen a place out of it.
I know.
Now, this gentleman came to my house and talked to me. What is your name, sir?
Tom Ashton,
Tom Ashton, yeah. I wrote your name down. He's interested in buying it. Terry was interested in buying it, and Lisa Straley was interested in buying it.
We're not interested.
I'm not interested in buying it. I had somebody that wanted to buy it.
Okay. I think the main thing the town's worried about, we don't want to get stuck with the back taxes that they owe those employees that they
You
didn't pay
can't.
their.
I give you the papers, I run them, I've talked to the CPA, I've talked to the tax guy. What you need to have done is a title search to find out who owns the building.
I thought
And
we
the
said-
town owns the building. the taxes that are owed on that is employee taxes by the Senior Citizen Community Club that has now been dissolved. That no longer exists. That's the only taxes that's owed on that building, are owed. There's nothing owed on the building.
There's
It's
no
free and
liens
it's
against the
clear.
building, is what you're saying.
Nothing. Nothing. You got the papers, I give them to you.
Well, I got them still.
But I mean, what you have to do
I
is,
thought there was a lien against the building, that was the way I.
what you have to do is run a title search on it. And that will tell you you own the building. But then it'll legally tell you that you don't owe taxes on
The
it.
only thing is, how much is the title search?
About
cost?
$200 to $300, but you tack that on to the price that you're gonna sell your building.
You get your money
Well, the
back.
buyer usually pays that.
Yeah, the buyer, yeah.
Buyer pays
He knows, he buys and sells, I don't.
I'll pay for that.
And he does a lot of good.
I talked to him for about a half hour in my garage, yeah, I liked his ideas.
I've seen him
I sent him
buy
down to your house.
I know you did.
to buy children.
Well,
I mean, it's something you can look into.
It's better than having to sit around.
Yeah. The appliances are still there, the water lines are still there, there's nothing wrong with the building, it has a new roof. There's nothing wrong with the building. Because the town put a new roof on it. Then they give it back to them, but they didn't, what happened was, the town board and the board of the Duggar Senior Community Club, neither one signed it. So that left it open to the last person that owned it, which was the Duggar Senior Community Club. And they got in trouble because they had one employee and they didn't pay that employee taxes.
Mike, I've got another question. That share food that comes in, or the Catholic charities that come in, we've always did it in this building.
do what?
We have always did it in this building. I've done it the last 2 years. Sometimes I work it by myself. The reason that it wasn't in the community building, sometimes they bring eggs in or dropped on the floor. Ask Gene. He knows what kind of mess they make. The lady does not want people in the building until the semi is unloaded. She's told them not to come before 9:30. If they get here sooner, they don't need a warm place to sit. They can stay in their car.
Okay.
This
Well, that's
building
what was, I can't even remember who, was it Shirley Straley maybe called
This
me?
building is better for Catholic charities.
Okay, we'll just
It's
have it
better
here.
because the people can't get in here. And she would prefer not to have to fight over the people trying to get the truck empty.
Okay.
So this building is the best. Because then if you have to redo the floors, you got a little spot instead of having to do the gym where they walked in, the community room, and the kitchen because they come through all of it. And
Okay.
lots of times, I have been the only one here to help her unload that truck, and Gene and Lonnie know it because they watch me do it.
Yeah, they watch you.
Yeah, they watch me do it.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, now the last few months, she's had a little bit of help. I asked White if him and the board would like to help this time to see actually what happens. A week from today, at 10 o'clock, they're gonna have the food bank. And I was talking to Dwight about coming over and seeing if you guys want to help unload the truck and pass out the products. So you can actually see what goes on and how it's ran.
But it's better in this building.
Yes,
And
it
this
is, that's what I
building
told you.
doesn't need to be unlocked before 9 o'clock. And all that needs to be in here is the people actually working. And I usually go out and get the key off of the shelf.
Okay. Well, we'll just have it here. Was you in agreement with that? Just
No,
have it here.
I'm-
Just
it's
have it
fine with
here
me.
from now on.
It's cheaper.
I didn't
to
even
keep-
talk to anybody else. I can't remember what I was doing that day. I know it was Shirley Straley called me and said it's supposed to be cold and people standing outside freezing, they need a place warm to stand. I said, well,
November and
yeah.
December, I
I didn't
didn't
give it
get
much
the
thought,
help
but
because I had doctor's appointments and I don't know how it got blown out of proportion like it did. Because we've always done it in this building and it was fine. And you can call Catholic Charities. I'm the one that's done it for the last 2 years.
okay. All right, well, we'll just have it here from
Sure.
now on.
But if
Oh.
you're gonna heat a building, this is the
Yeah.
right way to go because it's cheaper.
Cheaper.
And when the people open the doors to get their food, I turn the heat on. It's
Just
gonna
as
be
well.
cold. Well, it's gonna be cold in here, so
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. talk about this bingo fund event. Now, we kinda had a little talk about this. One of the things, the only thing we had a concern about this, Duggar Community Building this is for the senior apartments up there?
Right.
Okay. The only question we had before we made any decision on this is all the money that you get, since you're doing this for the housing, their housing authority, do you have to give them the money, or where's the money go?
No, they're not, it's owned by the Duggar Improvement.
What's owned by the Duggar Improvement?
The apartments are.
The improvement, the board.
The board owns it?
Right, and we're all from Duggar.
Not the town board.
No.
No. I thought that was the housing authority that run that place.
No,
They regulate them.
They regulate them?
no, they don't. We set our own rules. Well, we go by the,
Who pays the people that run the place?
we don't get paid. The only person who gets paid is the manager, and that's Vicky.
Who pays her?
We pay her out of our fund. And that's according to the state law.
I thought the housing authority wrote her check.
No, that's out of the state law, that's out of the state law of Indiana.
Yeah.
We answer to the rural development because we owe them money for building that. They're like the
Okay.
Yeah, that's
bank.
where I wrote
They're
about
the
it.
bank.
That's where it comes in at.
They're the bank.
Okay, that's
All
where
the
it comes
money
in.
that we make, we're gonna use for painting, new carpet.
The money will stay here is what am I
Oh,
concerned
yeah, it's
about.
going to the.
It doesn't go over to that group and they dish it out.
No.
That's what we were
And
concerned
the
with.
people on the board get we don't get no
Yeah,
salary. We do
yeah,
free.
well, I understand that. But I thought, well, hell, if they gotta give it to that
No.
group and they dish it out like the school does,
No.
Why,
No,
it
all
ain't worth
goes
having.
right up there in the 22
you know?
apartments. And we'd be glad to show you.
Oh, no, I
We
don't-
have maybe $1,200
Yeah,
is all we got in our bank right now.
yeah,
I know it's in bad shape.
Yes.
yeah,
That's why I'm having this.
yeah.
Now, this is something, you can only do this like once a year, right? 'Cause of the
I'm
state.
hoping to do it maybe next year. We'll see how it goes.
But I mean, to
Right.
do it more than once a year, you have to have a license from
Oh,
the
no,
gambling.
just once a year.
Yeah,
Once
you
a
have to
year.
have a license. to
One
do it.
time,
Once
I
a
already
year.
checked with the senator.
Yeah,
You can do it one time a year.
That's right.
So the town's not gonna get in trouble for
No.
doing that.
If,
It has nothing to do with the town. And we use your building, that's it. I mean, the town is not liable for anything.
okay.
It's just like when we use it for the coal festival.
The only problem I had was that if the funding went to this housing authority thing here, then I would say no. But if it's gonna stay here, yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. I really don't.
I don't either.
My biggest issue was, it's like, if you go out here and donate $100 to this school, it don't go to this school.
no,
Goes to North Central.
Goes to a corporation, they might give them $10 back. So,
Just like our
you don't donate to this school.
just like our lawn.
It don't work
our tools,
that way.
It's in somebody's apartment because we don't even have a building to put them in.
If you wanna give something to the school for the basketball kids, you go out and ask the coach what you need and buy it and hand it to them. That's the only way they're gonna get it. And I was thinking, if you got that same problem here, then if you need a fridge, then have a bingo buy the fridge and put it in there. But don't give them the money with there, because then I give you $10 for one. So that was my concern. As far as I don't have an issue with that. That's not-profit type thing, and so it's a good deal.
That's fine with me.
It's fine with me.
It's all about getting free. Yeah, we need a motion.
Yeah,
I make a motion to let them use the community building.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? You got
Okay,
it?
okay, B 18?
And that
Okay.
is no
We'll clean it
charge.
up.
Okay.
Okay, title search we're talking about for that
Senior citizens.
senior citizens?
Appears to be the only way we're gonna determine.
Yeah,
And he's willing to do it because he wants to buy it.
Yeah.
The gentleman here wants it real bad.
well, I don't have a problem with that.
And he'll pay for the title search.
That's when the price
Yeah, he
goes
said he'd
up.
pay for the title search. Tom, would you're not shy or anything, are you?
Yeah, I'm shy.
I thought you were. Stand up and tell everybody here what you kinda had in mind doing if you got it.
Making their senior building out of it. That way all people can come, like stuff. I'm not trying to make a profit. I can break even, okay, if it don't, God bless me, yeah, everything's all right. No problem, go without. If they can't pay for the food, no big deal.
You gotta do bids on
If they ain't got the, if you wanna pay for it, that's all right. I'm not gonna have high price hamburgers, I'm gonna have like pool tables in there. I'm gonna have, you can play some cards, you know, no poker games, nothing like that, nothing.
Oh, come on.
But anyway, I'm gonna just have a regular 5 years old, and ain't no place to go to, so I just figured I'd.
And you said you talked to a lot of people in Lenton that would love to see something like that over here?
Yes.
They told me, said, Tom, get it. You know, I had an nerve building bought and off of Chip over here, and it fell through, and something about with the, it was in corporation, couldn't sell.
He had the building back behind Dr. Betty's,
That's what I was
right back there.
Stringer's old place?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that one anyway.
Well, the one in the end building, I was getting that.
Well, yeah, the end one
I
wasn't
was
bad.
fixing, that's what I was getting, I was gonna fix it all up. I was gonna have that in there and then maybe run a little oxygen once in a while or something, just.
It's a public building.
I'm not
Place for
opposed
somebody
to
to
that.
go.
Who'd you see about running a title search?
All you have to do is go to real estate or something like that, they'll run
Title
it for
company,
you.
it's all
But your seller has to pay for that, Mike, the town will be out in that.
Well, he already said he'd pay for it.
The
buyer.
buyer really supposed to, on a title search.
The buyer?
Yes.
Don't you
know,
have to
get
put
a
it up
title
for
search.
We
bid?
put it up, we'll have to have it done first, pay
Yeah, we'll
for
have
it.
to put it up for
You
bid.
buy a
I'll
property,
see.
you gotta have a title search.
Yeah, you can't just sell it to them, you'll have to put it up for bid, it'll
Put it
have
up
to go
for
up for
bids and
bid.
tell the person that's bidding on it, if you get it, you're gonna have to pay for the title search.
Right.
Yeah.
If they want a title search, because if they buy it without a title search and then some guy's got a lien against it, the buyer's stuck with it.
That's
Right.
right.
That's why you get a title search.
Yeah. Okay. You got anything?
Yes, I've got two items that I want to get either resolved and taken care of or drop them, get them off my chest. One is the range in the community building kitchen. I've talked to one person, he can't get the parts to fix it. The only other option, two options that we have is to go to Sears and have them do a service call on it, fix it, which is probably gonna cost us as much or more than we can buy a new range for. The second option is just to buy a new range and have it put in there, but we need to get that thing fixed or get it out of there. So somebody doesn't come in there and plug it in and go off and leave it on.
We got a burner that don't shut off, that's what it is. We got a burner,
Shut
that
off.
won't shut off on that one range in there.
Second thing I've got on my agenda is the thermostats in the community building. We've talked about in the past about replacing those programmable thermostats. They're worthless because we don't know how to program them. We don't have specific set dates or times that we can, so they need to come out of there. They're confusing for a lot of people. And they go in and they leave them on
Oh,
for a weekend on the heat or air conditioner, whatever. I can get those replaced. It's gonna cost around $500 to get all 5 of those replaced. Thermostats cost roughly $32 a piece, and the remote bulbs that are in, these are remote thermostats. And then they have a sensor bulb out in the gym and in the front room there in the conference room. And basically $52 per unit, and the man told me he thought probably the labor would be $150 around that area. So it comes out about $500. And I want to get these marked off my list so I can quit worrying about them, and need to find out what we want to do with it. One way or the other tonight, let's solve it. Come to it.
If you're gonna rent the kitchen, you gotta have something to cook on.
I would say my feelings are that if we go with a new range, it's not gonna be the monster that we've got there now.
No.
It's gonna be a
a very simple one.
very
That's
simple
hard to keep
range.
clean, the top of that is.
Pardon?
Top of that one's hard to keep clean anyway.
Yeah.
You gotta use that special cleaner on it. You just can't.
I don't agree
We're
with that
gonna
one.
get just a regular
The
range
surface,
like,
the smooth surface is the easiest one to clean.
Yeah.
between that one.
But they're a lot more expensive.
When
They're
that,
not.
when that kitchen was built, there should have been a big range come in there, restaurant style. That's what should have been put in there in the first place, and you wouldn't have had all that trouble.
Yeah.
If you don't put a range in the same size, you're gonna have a big hole like cabinets, and then it's gonna look crappy.
Well, these ranges are very big. I'm not saying buying it now, but it's what it should have been done in the first place.
But I meant, I wonder if they put a cheap range in that hole.
You checked with Bottoms over there, she did this really good deal from the apartments up there for appliances.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get them in refurbished that are just like new, but they're a heck of a lot cheaper.
I called them, Bonhams is no longer there, and they've got, J&S service or something of that nature.
Yeah,
And I called them, and they can't get the parts.
So she's talking about buying one from them.
Yeah.
maybe a refurbished one a lot cheaper, and they'll warn you.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought a refrigerator off of them.
Yeah.
I think we should replace it, not worry about trying to fix the darn thing. It's gonna cost, if you have a service call, they're what, $75 an hour from the time we leave Terre Haute?
Plus they come down and they assess the problem, and
Yeah.
then they go back.
You get the parts and come back
Order the
again.
parts, and come back and charge you another service call.
Yeah. So,
I know Sears will charge you $75 to come down and tell you what's wrong with it, because I just went through that.
yeah.
You
So,
come down and tell me it's $75, you tell me it wasn't worth fixing.
Been there and done that, huh?
and you can buy a new range for what, $400? Probably, $450, somewhere in there. Well, I don't know.
A new one.
What do you
over
want,
there.
$700?
I bought her electric refurbished for $250.
Yeah.
I looked at Sears, we were up there, my wife and I shopping the other day, and I get a little ticked off at Sears, because they had them on sale during the Christmas shopping season for $379 for a 4-burner,
Yeah.
full-size stove range. And, now they've got them on sale again for $479.
Your
Yeah.
problem with your ceramic top stove in
So I-
the community
I think-
building is the kids walking on it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, they do.
Sure.
I don't think
They
this is
do
good.
it.
I would
I think
be in
the
favor of
kitchen
staying
should
as
be
mobile
for
as
adults
we can,
somewhere,
like Linton or
concessions.
somewhere,
Yeah.
Sullivan.
How do you think that?
So I need to know how to proceed on that, and I also need to know tonight, or would like to know tonight,
Pop in and out.
what to do about these thermostats. Do I call the man and tell him to order the parts, or?
Okay, we're looking around 500 for the thermostats. We're looking at about anywhere from 250 to what on a stove?
500.
You might as well do 500.
Might as well say $1,000 to do both jobs.
Which one can we do first? If we can do any. Right now.
Well, I agree that we do for sure need both of them. Well, I know that we need them. I know that we need the stove,
Yeah.
probably more, we need both of them, I understand. But at the same time, you guys, we did the budget, and if the budget's cut, remember, like $90-some thousand from
Yep.
last year. And you guys are also wanting to talk, in 2 weeks about bringing people's money back and bringing people back, and I'm sitting here kind of flabbergasted thinking, I don't know how on earth that anybody thinks we're gonna do that when we're actually functioning on $100,000 less than what we had last year. And last year we were in the hole. This year we're in the hole, and we're working on $100,000 less. No, I know that we need these things, but we're all also gonna have to remember that somebody said something about $200 earlier, and I don't even remember what it was about, but chuckled about, well, and I'm thinking, no, we really don't have $200. If you think about $200 here for this, $200 here for that, $1,000 here, we're gonna bring employees back for probably, I mean, Nothing, Kathy, I would love to have you back, and I'm not saying anything
And I
that we don't.
understand.
But I'm
but
just
you know
thinking, if
what?
we bring Kathy back, that's probably $5,000 to bring Kathy back for the year. And I was,
3,800.
how much?
3,800.
I didn't remember how much you made, I couldn't remember. Was it like 22 hours every,
And it could be
every 2
cut
weeks?
if I didn't clean the town hall, and there's no reason why.
You wouldn't have to. And I'm not saying that I'm against it, I'm not at all. I was just I was sitting here and I was adding, because this is all new to me, because I didn't know anything about it. And I was adding and I was thinking, okay, I don't remember how much you made an hour, but I did remember the 22, that you worked 22 hours every 2 weeks.
I got $95 a week.
Which is,
And
again,
that's
it's
nothing.
nothing. It is nothing. But when you think of nothing plus, well, we're gonna spend $200 on this, and we're gonna spend $1,000 on this, when we're working on
But
$100,000
if you don't
less.
keep your buildings clean, and you don't
I
keep the
understand.
appliances up.
I
you're
do,
not
I
gonna rent the
understand. I don't wanna
buildings.
be the bad guy, so
No.
please don't take,
No.
I don't mean to be the bad person. But
But
I'm
I'm just
thinking, well,
saying-
then the 131 that you guys give back, I was adding that. And I thought, well, if they gave their money all towards Kathy, well, then maybe we could do that. But I just don't know where the money's gonna come from. Yes, go ahead. Well, we need the stove, we need the thermostats. So yes, let's do it. But this is January, or this is February now. This is the beginning of February. We can't, we're not gonna be able to operate with spending any extra. I mean, that was our big thing, no extra, none. We just can't. We need to replace the stove, we have to. You know, we don't have a choice, we have to. We're gonna have to do these things, but we have to keep in mind that we're operating on $100,000 less than what we were last year. So we just have to remember, it's just now February, and we have to keep it in mind.
Well,
So,
you know, it's been, what, 2 months now, we talked about putting the truck up for bid.
yes.
You know, get the truck appraised, get it up, get it sold, there's money in your pocket, you know. How long they've been talking about this building, you know, get it going, get highest bidder, you know, and get some money into town.
And I'll
Don't
do
keep
something
talking
better than that.
about it every month, you know.
I'll do something else too. I'll put in a contract with the Duggar. Any profit I make goes to Duggar. I don't want no profits. As long as I get my utilities paid, expense inside, all the profit goes to Duggar. That's being a contract.
Sounds good.
I wouldn't
that's
do
what
that
we
with
need to
you.
get going, no.
I'll
Whenever you
do it.
work your butt off, you ought to make a
I'll
little
do
bit
it.
of
I ain't got,
yours.
like I said, I ain't, like I said.
I wouldn't do that. I mean,
I'll do it.
that's.
I will do
If
it.
you wanna donate it again, you don't need a contract for that.
I'll put her in
I think
contract.
that's ridiculous for us to ask you to do that.
Right, I mean, and I hate that I sound like that. I don't want to come across as
Well, no,
I'm the
that's just
bad
facts.
person, because I don't want to be the bad
That's
guy.
just the facts.
But,
We got Jimmy Marlowe here, sells cars, just have him come down, give an appraisal.
I talked to Jimmy,
Get it
yesterday.
going, get it sold, get some money in the account.
Yeah, he's gonna look at
And this
it.
is
We're
2
gonna have
months
that
we've
ready
been
to go for
talking
the
about
next
it.
meeting.
Do it now.
Ready?
I don't know. I know we're broke. Will the state not help us do something?
They can't.
Why?
what we're operating on is our property tax money. I mean, our MVH money, there's only certain money that we get. We can't get any more. I mean, we operate on what they give us, and that's all we have. And certain monies that we get, we can only use for certain things. MVH can only be used for certain things. You can't interchange certain funds, you know what I mean? So we just have
I thought
to,
maybe we could ask for an extended.
I
period
wish.
Or something, I didn't know.
yeah, we wish.
I have a special request.
Yes, please.
Connie and Alan's grandson, they just found a mass on his kidney and they're taking him to Indianapolis.
What?
Alan and Connie's grandson, Austin, and they're sending him to Indianapolis. So Larry, before we leave, we say prayer for us.
How old is he, Ken?
10.
Oh, my.
Now, did they they just have, they have 2 kids?
Austin and Olivia,
And whose son is that? Oh,
Josh's kids.
Austin's the one that has the spot.
He's got a mass on the kidney. He's in ICU at Lanton and they're getting ready to transfer. They took him in with a, they thought it's flu.
Is that Josh's boy or?
He's 10 years old.
Nobody has anything else to bring before the board.
What are we gonna do with these?
Oh, you wanna make a motion that we make these?
I will say this on the thermostats, when I made out my contribution back to the city of Duggar, I put on my check specifically for the thermostats. So I've got $131 in the bank for the thermostats.
And they're being very, very good about doing that with their money, specifying what they need it to go back to. And it's been very, very wonderful, and everybody should know that they are doing that. You know, if there's something specific that's needed, they will put that on their money and say, this is what we need it to go towards. So they're doing an awesome job with that. And so they need to be praised for their job of doing that, because it is
Go
very
ahead and tell him to order the thermostats.
Huh?
Yeah.
Tell him to go ahead and order the thermostats.
Do it.
Make a motion.
It'll save us more money and in a year's time, we'll get our money back.
Need to make a motion?
Yep.
Make a
I
motion.
can if you want, go to Linton tomorrow and get some prices on ranges and see if he does have refurbished
Sure.
range.
All right, do
Good
that.
enough.
We'll do the
We'll do it.
We'll do
Do the thermostats tonight.
thermostats done and do that.
Okay, if nothing else come before the board,
Okay.
need a motion to close?
We need a motion to pay the claim.
Oh, yeah.
And if you guys will make a motion to pay to do the range and the thermostats. Just need a motion. Okay.
Need a motion we need a motion made.
I'll make a motion that we purchase and install new thermostats in the community building.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Both of them.
What do you got?
Right there. They're both the same.
Haven't seen the plans yet.
We'll see here.
Huh?
The only page, just the front page.
Yeah.
Same thing.
No.
That's all right. We'll find it. Did we bring up and tell you about what you guys asked for the Lakota Club for the building?
Yeah, we need to know about that.
Yeah, you do.
I got 190 invitations sent out for.
It's okay. You're gonna have the building, you know.
Thank you.
And we've already, and we talked about it here a while back. You're gonna get that one for free. That's non-profit organization. And as far as the heat and light and all those type of things, I think we're gonna probably just donate our wages back to that to cover the cost of that, so it won't hurt the town any.
Dwight, what we do with that money, we closed 6
I know you
children
do.
this last Christmas
Yes,
out of school.
you do a good job with that. And we'll make sure
It goes back into
that
this
we cover the
community.
rest of it here. So,
Thanks.
yeah. I didn't know we told you that or we got to you with it. We got your dates on the calendar up there,
Okay.
you know?
Lakota Club.
Yeah. That was for what? Saturday, it was Saturday.
April the 19th and 20th.
Yes. Yeah, 19th and 20th it was. And I know you got it on the calendar up there already. It's already on there.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
Now we need a motion to close.
Appreciate
Yep.
it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
second motion.